Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another product spotlight. Today, I have Justine Cornelsen from BrettYoung joining us. Justine, how are you doing?
Great. I'm enjoying a nice hot day in Manitoba.
Excellent. I know it's beautiful. Savor it while we can. Today, Justine is joining us to do a product spotlight on BrettYoung's LibertyLink Canola. So before we get started, Justine, do you want to tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and your role with BrettYoung Seeds?
Yeah, so with BrettYoung, I'm the Agronomic and Regulatory Services Manager. So it's a bit of a unique position. I get to work with our many different business units at BrettYoung. We're not only in the crop input side of the world, but we're also big into the turf and forage side. So with my position, I'll work with product managers to register products here in Canada, also make sure they're cleared in the US and also globally. In regards to our crop input side of the business and canola, as we're going to talk to about today, I manage all of the agronomic trials. So trial setup, trial design, but then also look at experimental products we're going to throw into trials. So work with product managers and then our sales team to get a lot of these trials up and running here in Western Canada.
Fantastic. That's a busy role. Okay, so why don't you tell us more about BrettYoung's LibertyLink Canola?
Yeah, so for BrettYoung, we've typically been known for our Roundup Ready or TrueFlex canola. It's just within the last couple of years, we've got our LibertyLink license. So we had launched a product, probably 3-4 years ago now, just as an introductory product. But now we're starting to really explore that marketplace, and we've got some new exciting products coming to market. The one we're going to focus on today is BY 7204 LibertyLink. So this is a new product for us that we was launched this past year in 2024. So we're seeing great success with it. We saw great success last year as a demo product or as an experimental. And so we're just really starting to ramp up and also looking at a whole host of new candidates this year. So it's kind of an exciting time. As many of you know, here in Western Canada, there is a lot of LibertyLink canola grown. So to be able to have a footprint and enter into that is really important for us here at BrettYoung. Why we're really excited about the LibertyLink segment, our main genetic supplier, DL Seeds, they've done a big shift in their breeding programs, and they've actually switched from an MSL breeding program over to an agribusiness, which is offering some really unique and interesting traits coming forward out of that program. So our BY 7204 LibertyLink product is kind of one of the first results or one of the cleanest results coming out of that new breeding program. So we're excited to have it available for farmers now.
Can you tell us what is unique about BY 7204 and why growers should be selecting this variety?
Yeah, so this is brand new variety. It is out of the DL Seeds breeding program, so through that agribusiness system. And it's got a whole suite of traits that growers are looking for. And one of the biggest one is that pod shatter trait or that pod shatter technology. So it is rated as a 7.5 on the Canola Council of Canada's pod shatter scale. So it's right there in alignment with some of the top producing in vigours and competitor LibertyLink products. So that is a really important piece for us to have that pod shatter trait and then to also see it perform quite strong in the field. The other component is then we've got the Clubroot Defender on it as well, which means it has the 2 genes stack. And that stack is going to provide a grower a level of protection against those predominant Clubroot pathotypes that we see. So it's just nice reassurance that it is going to cover a whole suite of different Clubroot pathotypes. And then it's also got the RLM7 blackleg gene, resistance gene. And this is a newer gene. We don't see many hybrids on the marketplace with it yet. It is a gene that we'll likely start to see more and more of. And mainly why it's being brought forth by breeding programs is it's going to match a lot of the blackleg races that we see in growers' fields. So it is a very common gene that we see within the pathogen. So what happens is when it's in a hybrid, it needs to match the races of blackleg within a field. From there, there's this defense response that is initiated in the plants itself, which is going to stop blackleg at the site of infection. So this gene is an exciting one, and we are going to see it work in a lot of growers' fields to really help slow down blackleg. It is a mid-maturing product, so that's another kind of key component. And with that mid-maturity, we're able to place BY 7204 across the prairies. So out of the trials we had last year, it performed really well in a whole variation of geographies, from long to short growing seasons. This product stands really well, and that's something that was noted last year, and we're starting to see this year as the crop's starting to really turn and advance and all of this heat. This product stands well. So for growers going into straight cut, it's just an added benefit there to have that. Going back to the pod shatter trait, being a mid-maturing product, you're able to kind of leave it outstanding later than you want, or you're able to lay it down in swath and it's still going to hold really well. So just a really mixed bag for that. You're going to be able to place it and it's going to perform quite well. Last year, out of the several years I've been looking and screening hybrids, we haven't had a product perform so consistently. Even in the drought conditions or the field trials that had some precipitation moisture last year, it performed well. So we're excited to get another year's worth of data off. We've got this in our BrettYoung comparison trials. So it's in all of them, but we're also doing over 150 side-by-side. So this could be a really great year to collect a lot of data off of this product. And hopefully we see that consistency pull through from last year on BY 7204.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go one deeper, and you touched on it already, but let's go a little bit deeper. Can you touch on BrettYoung's Defender status and then how you provide ratings for your pod shatter tolerance? Do you want to go a little deeper into that? I think that's important.
Yeah, you know what, having the pod shatter technology and traits has been a really important piece, and especially within the Liberty segment. Top Liberty products the last 10 years, coming out of the InVigor program, have had a trait for quite some time. And now a lot of other industry members and competing breeding companies are working with traits and starting to integrate those into lines. So for us, like I said, it's been really important to have that trait, and we've been using a pod shatter trait the last few years within our TrueFlex segment. So now having it in a LibertyLink has been really important. With BY 7204, it has a rating of a 7.5 on the Canola Council shatter tolerance scale. And so 8 is kind of your industry standard, and that's where you want to be, where something down in the 1 to 3 range is something that's going to shatter out or not recommended for straight cutting. So at that 7.5 range, we've got confidence that this product is going to hold well under varying conditions. We're starting to see wind, we're seeing late season hails. So we're going to put a little more stress on that trait this year and see how it performs. But the last 2 seasons, it's held on really well. And it's something at BrettYoung that we continue to reassess every year with our main breeding partner, DL Seeds. So these products are continued to be tested throughout the different conditions, and we'll adjust and alter that score as we see fit over years and as we continue to collect data. Scores do change drastically based on the environmental conditions that we've had. So the last 2 years being drought, this year a little more upfront moisture. We'll see how the trials perform. So we do field scale trials where the products are left out quite late. We'll use leaf blowers on them, really bang them up and stress those plants out. So we do that, and then we'll do a random impactor test as well. So several different ways to actually screen and test for pod shatter, which is extremely important. And we're not afraid to adjust and alter that score as we see over different conditions. So we'll continue to do that. Any of our commercial to make sure that trait is staying true and performing. There's obviously a huge genetics and environment relationship there. So we want to see how the genetics are holding up under those different environmental conditions.
I think you just answered my next question, but I'll ask it and see if you want to add anything more. As we know, Canadian farming weather and conditions are pretty fierce, and the crops need to stand up to a lot of different weather types. You touched on it a little bit. You can add more here. What does your team do to ensure that LibertyLink performs to the highest standards in Canadian conditions? I know you touched on the field trials. Do you want to expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I just kind of dipped my toes into that. BrettYoung is obviously a smaller company overall, right? We're not a big multinational. So a lot of our work and our trial work, we rely heavily on growers or third parties to do for us. So between our sales teams and their retail outlets, and then also just like I said, small plot scales, working with breeding partners, we do have a variety of different testing programs out there. And that's something that's extremely important to us at BrettYoung, is that we're providing products that make sense for the geographies we're positioning them in. So we don't just test in central or southern Manitoba. We are trialing these products all across Western Canada and the northern US as well. And we're kind of altering and looking at products that are going to fit different geographies, because obviously it's very different in the Peace River region of Alberta and BC than it is in the Red River Valley in southern Manitoba. So from small plot to medium scale blocks to field scale trials, we do test these products widely. Our breeding trials are typically small plot. We partner with DL Seeds and we do something called a max plot, which is a larger block of small plots put together so you get a better view of the product. And then we run a BrettYoung comparison trial, which is working with growers directly and taking these products to the field level. They're replicated trials. This year, I think we're over 30, almost 35 LibertyLink trials in quite a range and variety of geographies. And then we also then work with our retailers to go into other strip trials. So all of that data makes its way back to me, and then I'm able to look at it and assess and kind of pick out those little geography differences and where products were performing well or maybe not as strong in areas, and then hopefully then position a product that makes a little more sense for that geography. So yeah, we continue to really test our LibertyLink products. We've got a variety of them, which is exciting, kind of an exciting position for us to be in as we work with our main genetic supplier, DL Seeds. They've got a whole suite of candidates that are looking really promising, and we're at the point, and most breeding programs are, it's exciting to see all of these new hybrids come forward, fully traded, right? They have the Clubroot gene package that you're looking for. They have the new blackleg genes. They have pod shatter. All of those components are so important to growers. And then they're continuing to push yields, which is obviously one of the bigger pieces there. And as we explore further, we're looking into, that end product and quality. So it's, I don't know, it's an exciting time to be in the canola industry. Things are looking quite promising, and lots of great research and focus into now environmental conditions and really getting into hybrid specifics, which I think we're going to see more and more of that, of which hybrids are going to perform to the highest level in which geographies.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Farming in Canada can be just such a mixed conditions, and we only get one shot. You get to seed once a year, and
Yeah.
you got to make sure it's right. So thank you for sharing that. If farmers are listening and they're interested, where can they learn more about BrettYoung LibertyLink Canola?
Yep. So you can go to our website, which is brettyoung.ca, or reach out to your regional account manager. All of their information is online. They're the best individuals to talk to, and they'll be able to point you in which direction and which retailer actually has our BrettYoung products available.
Excellent. And we'll put some of those links in the show notes as well. Justine, thank you. That has been a fantastic explanation, very informative. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your expertise.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, Tracy.
You're very welcome. And you in the audience, thank you for tuning in. If you're looking for more information, go to Farm Marketer show notes and you can find all the information there. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.